Welcome back, everyone. So glad you're here listening. We're going to cover something just so crucial at this in this day and age around how to actually create a viable and successful marriage and partnership. That's what we're that's what we do every time. And this time we're going to focus on the role of technology in getting in the way of having that relationship. So how we're going to go about this, because I want to really have this be a succinct introduction, and then also mini training around how you can shift your relationship with technology, particularly in regards to how you show up in a relationship. So we're actually not going to go into all the neuroscience about the effects of, social media and phone use. There's a lot of wonderful podcasts that we can include in the show notes that cover that really well. Because I think we all actually know that it's not good for our nervous systems and our ability to be present. You can throw in labels of like, dopamine with addiction and um, you know nervous system dysregulation, blah blah. But it doesn't actually change the simple fact that you know in your bodies that when you hit a certain point of use, you are sort of dead to the world. You are not open and present to your relationships. Let's just start with that simple, uncontestable fact as we proceed. I've not brought this up to any client, any friend that doesn't say, like, yeah, you're right. It's really getting in the way. That there's no one that I've heard that can make a solid case to say, actually, when I just sit on the couch and just start, scrolling through Instagram or TikTok, like I'm a better person at the end of it. I'm more available as a father and as a husband, and I'm more open in my heart. I'm ready to be creative with, that's not a thing. So just starting with the reality, and then we're gonna go from there. Anything to add, Luke?
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, this podcast is about how cell phones and social media fuck up our relationships, and they're not dissimilar to anything that we do that numbs us out. Um, they haven't we don't have a Surgeon General's label on it yet, but I think within the next 5, 10 years that will be the case. And not to get into politics and regulation of FDA substances, but the substance that social media peddles and smartphones hack into is absolutely a chemical that gets us high, and that's dopamine, some oxytocin, um, different catecholamines that stoke up our sex androgens. And it's really sad. I was just saying with Ryan, I was taking the trash out at my office yesterday, and there was these two guys having a smoke break. And smoking aside, there's something kind of romantic about people having a smoke break because they talk and they connect and they hang out. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then they both pop out their cell phones and they're looking down. Their head drops down, and they weren't talking to each other. And I thought to myself, holy shit, what happened to what happened to smoke breaks and making friends? And also last night, there was a little bit of conflict in the family with my two daughters and my wife. And all of a sudden, everyone dispersed from the kitchen. My wife was in the bedroom with my oldest daughter. I was out on the couch suddenly. We were all on our phones. And then my youngest daughter, Juliet, says, everyone's on their phones, everyone's on their screens. I thought we were going to have family time. It's just heartbreaking. And thankfully, I heard that in the periphery of my hearing and could snap out of it. But I was in like the beginning stages of the social media phone trance. And when I pick up the phone, my thumb automatically, there's no consciousness to it. It goes to WhatsApp, it goes to Instagram, it goes to my Gmail account, it goes to my AOL account. Sorry out there. I still am on AOL. And and then it goes to my text messages and it just flips like it's some kind of martial art. My thumb's just like rapidly looking for the next hit of did someone text me back? Is there some WhatsApp group I need to attend to? Is there an email from work? And it's I can just feel it in talking about it. It just amps up my nervous system, puts me in a state of urgency. And I'm not only not present, I am actually in a state of some level of hyper alertness, some anxiety. So yeah, does it help my relationships? No. Does it help my relationship to myself and my health? No. It's not helpful. Not helpful. Could it be helpful if I was really conscious with it? Sure, perhaps. But the technology biohacks right into my nervous system. So it's difficult. It's almost an oxymoron to stay conscious with the way social media is structured, you know. Um, the one other point I'll make is it's what's so different about it compared to traditional media, movies, TV, and commercials is that the user has control of when they flip the scene. Whereas like in TV, the shot that the director's taking shifts every 3 to 5 seconds to keep our interest. But having that control as the consumer when I'm flipping the screen to go, oh, don't like this, flip, flip. Whoa, there's something I like. Stay there. Wow. Okay, now I'm bored. Flip, flip. Oh, I really like this. And then the algorithm feeds me more of what I'm liking. And then all of a sudden I'm just juiced. And now is this more interesting than anything outside of me? Yeah, because it's hacking right into where my nervous system and my current level of interest, whatever that is where that's peaked. I mean, it's brilliant in its construction, but it is anti-relational, I would say. It's really more on the side of non-relational.
Totally. Yeah. And you got the smartest minds on the planet just like dialing that algorithm in.
Yeah.
This is stuff y'all probably heard before, but we're
Hmm.
we're just getting on the same page here, right? And what it also brings up for me is just the recognition that the human animal already has a hard time being fully present with what's
Yeah.
happening internally in their own like mental, emotional, bodily, sensational experience. They have a hard time just actually just being with it with some level of curiosity and acceptance, not trying to change it, tweak it. Um, as well, it's difficult for them to be with another person in that level of presence of like curiosity, like what's happening for you, like let me put myself into your world for a moment. And so we're already, I mean, this is where the all the practices that have been developed in different schools of Buddhism and Tantra um, and spiritual traditions, right, are about countering this human tendency towards wanting to distract or disassociate from our experience,
Yeah.
right? Though now we have this ever present source of what do you call it metaphorically? Like it's a bit of like gasoline on that
Hmm.
monkey mind,
Yeah.
something like that, right? Like an amplifier. Um, so I'm worried. I mean, that's what I feel like when I really just drop in simply to like why I'm here on this planet. Like it is actually to train myself and train others, support others, encourage myself to be more present to the reality of the human condition, which has suffering, but it also has concurrently the beauty of compassion and of artistic tending to that suffering. I think that's where humans are shine.
Mm,
is in that dance between with our suffering, or in that meeting it authentically.
mm,
And needless to say, particularly the way um, phones have been developing over the last couple decades, uh, it's really undermining that developmental task that I believe we all have, which is to learn how to train our minds and our hearts to bend towards compassion, curiosity, and empathy. And I'm worried. I think we're up against a lot, right? There's a big, huge, huge profit motive here. Just insane
crazy.
to capture our attention, right? So therefore, then there's, again, the smartest people in the world are extraordinarily compensated for their ability to hack our minds, our nervous systems. So
Yeah.
just to be real about it, we're up against a lot here. You know, um, what do we do?
Yeah. In
What
the
do we do?
relational context, yeah, that we're focused on tough love for men, um, it begs the question, well, what would motivate you to not look at your cell phone? What's the motivator? What's the leverage? And, of course, anytime we're turning to something to get away from something else, in this instance, um, it's confronting loneliness, some level of disconnection, some level of dissatisfaction, perhaps in the relational field. Because if there were a higher level of connection and connectivity and desire for depth around that, then yeah, it wouldn't be such a pull
Hmm.
to pick up the phone, right? So something's off in the system. The cell phone's a symptom. We we could get fixated on let's regulate cell phones more, and I think that's a great idea. Um, but really, what we're about in our course and teachings is, do you want to be a man of consequence, a man of legacy? What kind of father do you want to be? What kind of husband do you want to be? When you die, what what are your friends going to say about you? But even more importantly, what's your spouse and kids going to say about you? Were you there? So this is our challenge. These are our harder cultural truths, because this is a cultural phenomenon that we have to push against. In our last podcast, we talked about the water we swim in that is pushing us really towards disconnection and power dynamics. And this is another aspect of culture that pushes us towards disconnection, that pushes us towards becoming siloed and getting our needs met. And let's make a clear distinction here. Our quote unquote needs met through technology and not each other. And the distinction is technology, I don't know if I'd call it gratifying as much as I might call it temporarily satiating our desire to feel good. So that's the best you can get from a phone, from cigarette, from sugar, from watching TV too much. Is you might feel good at least while you're doing it. You feel okay, you feel content, you feel better than you did beforehand. What's at stake relationally is you know, relational joy, uh, healing, love. The data is very clear. If you're in a relationship that's somewhat connective, you're going to live 10 years longer. 10 years longer. That's equivalent to smoking. I said this in the last podcast, almost a pack of cigarettes a day.
Is it loneliness is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not
Yeah.
being in a relationship, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Loneliness is. Yeah. So there are clear motivators to getting into connection. Now, is connection hard? Yeah, it's a lot harder than what picking up the cell phone, right? We all get it. We all get it. Like well, this is easier. And it's like, yeah, our nervous system is built to want to relax from stress and war, and particularly times like this, there's a lot of division in the world and kind of politicizing of every goddamn
Mm.
issue. It's like, man, it's tough out there.
Yeah.
So, is there
Yeah,
room for cell
and
phone? Yeah,
right, and we're at this stage of things where we have, and that's the goal of this podcast today, right? Where we have to take responsibility for our attention, for our behaviors, right?
yeah,
And take it up, right? Because if we don't, right, we are just going to be just parasitized,
yeah,
right? It's just going to happen.
yeah.
And what we have a part of our, sort of shadowy part of ourselves that doesn't want to have to, make this another project, like to take it on, right? As because you're already doing so much, say, and I get that, and I have that part of me as well that wants to, in other words, also might want to downplay the
Yeah.
the effect that this is having over time. It's a slippery slope too. I notice in myself, I just notice that, when I have little free time, and the girls are doing their thing, and like, I'm just gonna hop on YouTube, see what's up. Maybe I'll watch an education. Cloak it in some sort
Sure.
of like,
That's right.
and we really want to initiate this conversation, this exploration. That's what we do here, right? Like that's honest and connected to our deeper purpose, like our deeper ethic. Like what are how do we want to be for ourselves as well, I made a shift just over this past weekend where I I it was actually because I listened to one of these podcasts that we'll put in the show notes about the effect of social media on your brain. I was like, yeah, I am not reading these days, and so I took I think it was actually just half hour, 45 minutes to read. And it was hard. It was actually, it was like this initial, it's like exercising or something. There's this like initial, like, yeah. But sinking into that, it just felt so relaxing and nutritive, right? I was like sitting down to a good old like bowl of soup after eating Doritos for days or something. It was just something like in terms of the effect it had on my consciousness. Um, so it's in our hands.
Yeah.
Like it's in our hands to design our lives, to talk to our partners, to take it up, right? Because I we don't need to. I honestly, I don't in this day and age, at this point, we don't need to spoon feed you like, hey, maybe you want to create a little box by your phone that you can by your house, by the door to your house where you can put your phone in, and then you have phone free time together as a family. Like there's a lot, like you could ironically go to ChatGPT and be like, I really want to shift my phone use and curtail it and spend more time with my family. Give me 5 suggestions. Like that's all there for you. The the main thing today we want to bring to you and encourage you to do is actually take it up as or like
Yeah.
drop into yourself. Like, is this my best life? Is this how I want to spend my days? Because your days are limited.
Hmm.
Like what you're saying, Luke. I mean, you don't want to be that guy that's remembered as just slouched on the couch, just like, scrolling through his phone. Like, yeah, my dad was, yeah, we had some good times, but I also remember him just like kind of catatonic a lot, just on his phone. And then I ended up kind of doing that as a teenager, and then I remember us all doing that a lot. Like, oh man, that is a heartbreaking story.
Yeah.
I don't want that. That motivates me. Be like, I need to model better use. Not because I should, because I want to. I want to create a family that feels really alive and connected and has memories that live in the like are embodied.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're not comparing our lives to some fucking perfect family on Instagram or YouTube that's
Right.
doing whatever. Yeah.
Those shows never sold very well.
Which ones? The
The, well, the TV shows that were depicting the perfect family,
yeah.
they maybe ran a couple seasons. They're like, all right, we need something a little a little more conflictive.
Mm,
Yeah, I mean the our message is really simple today. You know, you said uh take this up, and you know, another way of saying that is take it down. Put the cell phone down. That's our message. Put it down. Pick your head up, look around the house, look at your wife, look at your kids, take a breath, appreciate them, make up a silly game, pull out a board game, cook a meal, get relational. And what I will say about, I don't know, you help me with this one. Something about technology really falls in the polarity of grandiosity. For the most part, it can flip down into shame, but it's a distancer. It's a distancer for sure. And um, like you said, Ryan, there's a way we can couch it as, well, I'm learning something or I'm benefiting something. That can certainly be a justifier for use. But it does perpetuate a power dynamic in our psyche around um, being above and below. Um, and hurrying up our system, getting us hurried up or slowing us way down. So it moves us into that polarity of mania and depressiveness,
mhm,
of anxiety and depression. Um, so it's not a balancer. It's not a harmonizer of our chi. You know, it doesn't harmonize the mind. It doesn't bring us into a state of of exchanging with the world. It's a taker. It's
mhm,
generally a taker. Now, is 5, 10 minutes not a big deal? Yeah, probably not, right? But we this podcast, this message is about really about tracking the things that take from from you and from what matters to you, and really getting disciplined about it. This is our message to men, women out there who are listening. You know, pay attention to these things that are taking from the end of your life. They're taking from your love with your partner, taking from your children, and they're taking from you and your health. And we're just being a little harder about it because part of our work, and we're launching a men's group, which is very exciting, is about accountability and calling things out that work and don't work with love, with care, honoring the wisdom that we all have. There's wisdom, there's maturity that we have. We want that to come forward. We want that wisdom to come forward and lead and guide. And you know, we've designed our teachings for men, but they're universal to some degree. They're applicable to women, but we're calling men forward, particularly in this men's group. You know, it's a ongoing men's group, to lead, to take leadership, which means to get present and conscious. Part of consciousness is looking first, often first, at what's not working. The first stage is what we call sobriety. Let's just sober up to the consequences of our choices. Sober up, right? Putting the phone down is the beginning of sobriety. Maybe the beginning is just thinking about, well, what's it costing me? What's this habit costing me, right? Anything can become quote unquote addictive. And really the idea of addiction is pulling us away from what matters.
mhm.
So we have support. This is very exciting. We've Ryan and I have been podcasting, I don't know, maybe close to a year now. We've had a few courses we've been offering, some online things, but this is our first live offering where men will get together weekly, once a month with us, to really get into what's not working, to work it, do some trauma work, some shadow work if needed, create some accountability structures, and build a community where um, we can start to drop addictive habits and work on what really matters with our marriage, with our children. Um, so it's exciting. I'm very excited about it, and it's a different kind of offering. It's really for, it's for men who are already in. They're already kind of in their lives. They maybe you aspire to have a deep relationship, or you're in one, and it's like it's getting stagnant. It's workable. Maybe it's good, but it's not great. And here's one of the things we know about breaking bad habits and developing good ones. If you're in a community, it's so much easier.
Mhm.
It's so much easier to build momentum and develop skills. So if you're out there thinking, oh, I can do it myself, the amount of work it will take you to self-discipline and lone wolf these projects, I don't know a man who has the time and space for that. What we're talking about is um, it's a 2 hour meeting with us once a month. It's a dyad partner meeting with another man in the group to build community twice a month. And then you meet with your own group. You meet with a group without Ryan and I once a month. So there's something weekly and there's skills we're working on every month. So one of them is tracking kind of addictive tendencies, right? And there can be kind of neutral addiction, positive addiction, negative addiction. So, cell phone is one of these, they just creep in there, if we want to name it.
Mhm. Yeah, thanks, Luke, for spelling all that out. Yeah, really looking forward to getting into the nitty gritty because everyone's so unique, in terms of like what their actual um, leverage point is in these behavioral challenges, right?
Yeah,
What motivates, what shifts, and I love it how we can learn from each other and cultivate what every man needs, um, a group around him of men that see him, love him, and also want to hold him accountable to what his deeper purpose is
yeah,
in this life.
yeah.
Because I think honestly, we drift from that because we think, no one's really tracking me anyway. And I'm like,
Right.
we slip into this kind
Yeah,
of isolating,
right.
I don't give a
Yeah,
and we need to counter that. It's
that's right.
it's so corrosive to our society. Um, and that's that's what we're doing. Check us out at beingmen.net if you're interested. You can also book a call with us to talk it through because we want to provide you the kind of support you need to be the man you want to be in this life. Thanks
Good
for
luck.
listening. All right. Bye, everyone.